Have you ever been in that exact situation? Standing in front of something you really want, but it is expensive, and knowing that if you buy it, your account is basically going to zero, and still feeling completely fine about it, not because you're careless, but because somewhere in your head you already know more is coming. That feeling has a name. It's called an abundance mindset, and it explains a lot more of your financial decisions and other people's than you might think. Abundance mindset is the belief that resources, money especially, aren't fixed and limited. There's something you can keep generating. If you have that belief, spending your last dollar on something doesn't feel like loss because in your head, today's dollar isn't the only dollar you'll ever have. It's just $1 out of a much bigger stream you expect to keep flowing. Compare that to scarcity mindset, which is the opposite belief, that money is finite, that what you have right now is close to all you'll ever have, so every dollar spent feels like a wound that might not heal. Someone with a scarcity mindset can have plenty of money and still feel poor, because the fear isn't about the number in the account, it's about the belief underneath it. Here's the part that surprises people. This isn't just a mindset coach talking point. There's an actual economic theory behind it, developed by the economist Milton Friedman, called the permanent income hypothesis. The idea is simple once you strip the big name off it. People don't base their spending on how much money they have right this second. They base it on what they expect their income to average out to over the long run. Someone who's confident they'll keep earning well doesn't panic about spending now, because they're not really thinking about today's paycheck. They're thinking about the whole river of income they expect over their lifetime, and today's spend is just one small part of that river. That's exactly what you saw in person B at the dealership. They weren't being reckless, they were doing quiet mental math. I trust what I'm capable of earning going forward, so this purchase isn't actually dangerous. It's just spending against income I haven't collected yet but genuinely expect to. This is worth being precise about, because it's easy to confuse the two. A lavish spender spends without thinking about tomorrow at all. There's no mental math happening, no real belief backing the decision, just impulse. If tomorrow brings a problem, that's tomorrow's problem. Someone with a genuine abundance mindset is doing something different. They've usually already looked at their skills, their track record, the demand for what they do, and concluded correctly that more income is realistically on the way. The confidence isn't blind, it's backed by something real. That's the difference between someone who spends their last dollar because they trust their own earning ability and someone who spends their last dollar because they simply didn't think about it. The generous tip. Someone finishes a meal, looks at the bill, and leaves a tip larger than the meal itself cost. It's not because they're rich, it's because in their head, money that leaves doesn't feel like money that's gone forever. It feels like money in motion, and they trust more of it is coming back around. The unpaid opportunity. Someone gets offered an unpaid speaking gig or an unpaid collaboration, somewhere they'd have to fly to on their own dime. A person with a scarcity mindset sees a flight cost and zero payment and says no immediately, because on paper it's a clear loss. A person with an abundance mindset says yes the same night, because they're not measuring today's dollars, they're measuring what this opportunity becomes 6 months or a year from now. The course or the investment in themselves. A person's card gets declined for something small, and 30 minutes later they're buying an expensive course or a piece of equipment for their business without blinking. That's not a contradiction. That's someone separating what I have available right now from what I'm capable of earning going forward and making the decision based on the second thing, not the first. The resignation letter. Someone quits a stable job with no other offer lined up and walks out calm, almost relieved. Everyone around them thinks they've lost their mind. What those people don't see is the belief underneath the decision, the belief that more will come, because based on this person's actual skills and history, it usually has. Notice the pattern in all four of these. In every case, someone made a decision that looked financially risky from the outside, and in every case, the decision was backed by a real, reasoned belief about their own future earning capacity, not just optimism for its own sake. Abundance mindset gets sold sometimes as a magic trick, as if simply believing money will come is enough to make it come. That's not what we are saying in any of the examples above, and it's worth being direct about that. An abundance mindset is healthy and often correct when the confidence behind it is earned. That means real demonstrated skills, an actual track record of income showing up before, real demand in the market for whatever it is you do. When those things are true, trusting that more money is coming isn't naive. It's just an accurate read of your own situation. It becomes a problem the moment the belief isn't backed by anything real. If someone spends their last dollar assuming money will magically appear with no plan, that's not abundance mindset anymore. That's just wishful thinking wearing abundance mindset's clothes, and the two get confused constantly, especially online where a lot of content blurs believe it and it will come, with the very different, much more grounded idea of trust your demonstrated ability to generate income and spend accordingly. The mindset itself isn't reckless. What matters entirely is whether the confidence behind it is earned or simply assumed. It's worth asking why some people end up with this calm, earned confidence and others don't, because it rarely comes out of nowhere. For a lot of people, it traces back to childhood, specifically to what they watched their parents do with money. A kid who grew up watching a parent panic over every unexpected expense, treat every bill like a small emergency, tends to absorb that same nervous system response to spending, even decades later, even once their own finances look nothing like their parents'. A kid who grew up watching a parent stay calm through financial ups and downs, who saw money come, go, and come again without the household falling apart, tends to internalize the belief that money moves in cycles rather than disappearing for good. For other people, it comes later from a specific early experience rather than childhood. Someone who landed their first big client or their first real paycheck after years of struggling and realized firsthand that their skills could reliably generate income often carries that proof forward into every future financial decision. They're not guessing that more will come. They watched it happen once already under pressure, and that memory becomes the evidence their calm is built on. This matters because it means the mindset isn't fixed. It's not something you either have or don't have for life. If your current relationship with spending leans anxious and scarcity-driven, that's not a personality flaw. It's usually a learned response to whatever financial environment shaped you early on, and learned responses can be updated with new evidence. Every time you demonstrate to yourself, in a small, real way, that you can generate income again after a dip, you're quietly building the same kind of proof that gives other people their calm. A useful gut check. If you're ever standing in front of a big purchase and trying to figure out if your calm is earned or just denial, ask yourself what specifically is generating the more will come feeling. If you can point to real things like actual clients, a skill people pay for, a consistent pattern of income showing up even when things get tight, that calm is legitimate abundance mindset. If the honest answer is, I don't know, I just feel like it'll work out, that's worth taking seriously as a warning sign rather than a personality trait, because feelings aren't income and hoping isn't a financial plan. The healthiest version of this mindset usually comes with a second, quieter habit. People who trust their future earning capacity the most also tend to be the ones actively working to diversify and strengthen that capacity, building multiple skills, multiple income sources, an actual track record, rather than sitting back and simply waiting for the universe to provide. The confidence and the effort go together. One without the other is usually where things go wrong. Go back to person B for a second, the one who tapped confirm without a flicker of hesitation. The calm on their face wasn't magic, and it wasn't recklessness either. It was the visible result of a quiet, ongoing decision they'd made long before they ever walked onto that lot, to build a life where their income wasn't tied to one job, one client, one lucky break, but to an actual demonstrated ability to keep generating money again and again in more than one way. That's the real lesson underneath the whole scene. Abundance mindset isn't about pretending money is unlimited. It's about building a life where trusting that more will come is actually a fair, earned, accurate thing to believe instead of blatant hope. The next time you're standing in front of something expensive, watching your balance about to drop to almost nothing, the question worth asking yourself isn't, can I afford this today? It's, do I actually have good reason to believe more is coming? And if I don't yet, what would it take to build that reason for real?